The last guest at the Harper Farm? The Harper Farm crouched at the edge of a forest the locals didn't like to walk after sundown. Old-timers said the woods were hungry. They never explained what that meant, just muttered it with a look that suggested they'd seen something they refused to name. By Thanksgiving of 1978, the Harpers had learned to ignore the talk. They'd bought the place cheap from the county after the prior owner, Edwin Crowley, vanished during a brutal winter storm 15 years earlier. The sheriff's department searched for weeks, never found so much as a button. Snow clouds rolled in early that year, swallowing daylight faster than usual. By the time the guests trickled in, the forest around the farm was already a wall of blackened silhouettes. Inside, the house buzzed with the warmth of people packed shoulder to shoulder, the clatter of dishes and the smell of roasted turkey. But beneath all that, there was a strange tension, a feeling like the farmhouse itself was holding its breath. Around dusk, just as Mrs. Harper began setting the last of the dishes, a knock echoed through the house. One single knock, slow and hollow. Mr. Harper frowned. Who knocks one time? He opened the door, and the cold outside rushed in hard enough to snuff a candle on the entry table. A tall man stood on the porch. Suit, dark tie, shoes polished like he walked out of a funeral. He held a pecan pie in both hands, but his fingers looked stiff, almost bluish. "Evening," he said. His voice was faint, like someone speaking from a long distance away. Mr. Harper hesitated. "Were you invited?" The stranger's lips drew into a thin line. "I used to know this place. Thought I'd stop by, just once more." Nobody wanted to turn a man away on Thanksgiving, so they let him in. The moment he stepped over the threshold, the air shifted. The heat evaporated. The thermostat clicked, but the temperature kept dropping. Guests pulled their sweaters close and rubbed their hands together. The stranger took the empty seat near the end of the table. The chair creaked under him despite his thin frame. Dinner began, but each time someone looked at the man, he seemed a little different. His skin looked too pale. His suit seemed older, almost threadbare under the lights, and his eyes, gray and flat, never drifted from the people around him. At one point, one of the neighbor boys dropped his fork and crawled under the table to grab it. When he came back up, he was trembling. His mother smoothed his hair and whispered, "What's wrong?" The boy didn't look away from the stranger. "He's not breathing." Everyone turned. They watched, and it was true. The man's chest never rose, never fell. Mrs. Harper tried to steady her nerves. "Sir, who did you say you were visiting again?" The stranger finally spoke, voice colder than the drafts creeping under the floorboards. "I lived here," he said, "long before you did." One of the neighbors whispered, "The man who disappeared." The stranger tilted his head as if he'd heard it, and for the first time he smiled, not warmly, but with a slow, heavy sadness. "I never disappeared," he said. "I froze, out there." He pointed toward the black line of trees visible through the window. "The storm took me. The forest kept me." He paused. "Now I come back when the cold is deepest." The lights flickered. Once, twice. Then they died completely. Darkness swallowed the room. Someone screamed. Someone else started praying. The cold slammed into the house like a fist. People could see their breath in the dark. The table shook violently, dishes rattling, glasses tipping. From the corner of the room came a sound, like something dragging across the floorboards. Then a different sound. A rasping breath, but not human. More like wind forced through old frozen lungs. When the lights finally flicked back on, the man was standing now, right behind Mrs. Harper. The room froze in place. He leaned down, whispering something only she heard. Her face drained of all color, and she dropped her fork with a clatter. The lights blinked again, and he was gone. No footsteps, no open door, no sound. Only the pie remained, sitting on the table. Ice crusted the surface, crystals forming delicate patterns across the filling. The guests left early that night. No one said goodbye. No one looked back at the house. For days afterward, Mrs. Harper barely spoke. When she finally did, she told her husband what the stranger whispered. "The forest hasn't forgotten me, and it won't forget you either." Every winter since, the Harpers swear they hear strange knocks on the door. Always one, always slow, always on the coldest night of the year, and sometimes, in the tree line behind the barn, they catch the outline of a tall man standing perfectly still, watching the house like he's waiting for his seat at the table again.